ProWrestlingSheet.com.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Pro Wrestling Sheet Raw Recap Show. I am your host, John Rocha, joined as always by the CEO of the Pro Wrestling Sheet, Riott Satin, who is girlfriendless this week. So this is going to be an interesting Riott Satin we get this week.
My hair's already all messed up after 1 week of having the short hair and doing it. So as you can see, I'm a mess. But I ran in just in time to make sure we could get this out.
Yeah. Well, this one started out. This was an interesting Raw. You know, where it seems like when we're getting to WrestleMania, all these shows feel like send-off shows. They feel like, to me, these episodes as they lead into it. This one felt that way as well. They're just laying all the groundwork to make sure you got what you need, and the matches that are coming up, previewing the matches that are coming up. But we started out, of course, which it broke all over the place, that the women's triple threat match will officially headline WrestleMania. So let's start there, because that was definitely the topic of conversation throughout the whole show on Raw last night. What's your feelings about that first? And I know we kicked it around last week that maybe they were losing the momentum for it, but now they've solidified it here.
I think, if anything, they did that to almost course correct themselves on that situation. Okay. Because I think they were losing steam a little bit, and I think that they were kind of losing the main focus a little bit from them, and that's why we weren't the only ones. I listened to other shows, and I heard a lot of shows talking about how it was. Not only was it not looking that way, was it starting to look that way, but everyone would almost seemed okay with it, kind of like we were saying. But I think that this almost, this was a way of wiping that a little bit, clean a little bit, and bringing the women back to the forefront. I think it was smart to, put it out there for all the media, so that the people.coms of the world and the Huffington Posts and the, all those mainstream publications that WWE craves the attention from. Yeah. And I say that like it's a negative thing, but every company craves media attention from these types of companies. Yeah. So, the type of thing that any entertainment company craves, that kind of attention. And so this was smart to get it out there of like first ever. Like they've been doing all these first evers. They've been doing them all. The Royal Rumble, the Elimination Chambers. And this was really like the last one that was on the list. And I'll be honest with you, 2 years ago, when it started to kind of be a thing that was more and more talked about. Yeah. I thought it sounded like a pipe dream. I thought, like, really? I just really
that's fair, I think.
I really, when people were saying it, it wasn't like it was just certain sects of people who were saying it. Lots of people were saying it. It was starting to grow, and I never, myself, and I think a lot of people were kind of like, dude, there's no way Vince will ever approve that. Right. Like, especially while Brock Lesnar's in the company, especially when you have a pay-per-view draw like Brock Lesnar. But the second Ronda Rousey came around, love her, hate her, say what you want about her. But Ronda Rousey did 100% lead them down that path to get there. I mean, they brought in a pay-per-view draw just like Brock Lesnar was at that time, back when they brought him in and said, okay, let's see what can happen. And she did so well with it that she was able to lead them there. And that's not discredit anything that Becky or Charlotte has done either, because those two played vital roles in all of this as well. I mean, 2 years ago, when people were saying stuff like that, it was because of Charlotte. Yeah. It was like, Charlotte is going to lead the women to main event WrestleMania. Right. And then, when Ronda came in, it seemed inevitable that the two of them were going to be the ones to do it. And with Becky becoming such a hot commodity at the same time, I mean, all the pieces are in place. It would have been silly to not end the show with that. And in my opinion, we're going to end the show. It's, one of the best NXT moments that's ever happened was when all the four horsewomen came in the ring when Bayley won the NXT women's title, and they were all went around her, the emotional moment, and they're all throwing up the four horsewomen sign. I feel like WWE is going to recreate that moment at WrestleMania after the end of it. It's going to be Becky standing tall, Sasha and Bayley are going to come out. Right. Charlotte's going to drop her guard down a little bit and like, look, we did this. They're going to have their moment. And that's a hug I'm totally okay with, because that makes sense that they did it finally, which is a huge moment. And I feel like they're going to close the show out with the four horsewomen standing tall as like a thank you to everything. Because there's no denying, regardless of what regardless of Ronda helping them to get there, the four horsewomen did so much to actually make it happen as well.
Right. And after they all hug, Charlotte's going to turn on all of them, and it'll be perfect.
No.
She's going to kick them all in the face and be done with it.
I think it's going to be the straw that broke the camel's back in terms of Ronda being like, oh, you know what? Y'all think you are the fucking horsemen?
Right.
Horsewomen? We're the horsewomen. And she's going to bring up her crew the next night on the Raw for WrestleMania. Yeah, and they're just going to beat the crap out of the 4 horsewomen. And we're finally going to get 4 horsewomen versus 4 horsewomen before Ronda takes a hiatus. Okay. I don't know that, but that just seems to me like the perfect way to map that out.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Ronda, she opened.
What did you think of the women main event?
Oh, I love it. I've always.
I spoke for like 5 minutes.
It's all right. I'm a big fan of them. I wasn't always a fan of the triple threat because I do feel like Charlotte was shoved in there. Nothing you can do about it now. But if it should absolutely headline WrestleMania. And kudos to people around Vince who kind of, and maybe it was Vince's idea, who knows, who kind of pushed this idea. Look, we're going to get more attention for the company if we have this be our main event, and they've earned it. Like, they've earned it. Both things can exist. They've earned it, and we'll get more attention for our company. So it's a wise move all around, and they've been building towards it. And you're right. Ronda was like the last thing to push it over the top. Everyone else, from Fabulous Moolah and all those old days, bringing it slowly up the hill. And it looked like you were saying 2 years ago, pipe dream. Couldn't be possible, but you needed the women's wrestling to eclipse the men's wrestling. And you can argue that over the last year, it has. You can certainly make a case one way or the other. You can make a case that it has. And so you have enough great personalities in this triple threat match that will be fun in 3 different styles. And 3 women, you could argue Charlotte and Becky at the top of their game, Ronda getting there quickly. So it's going to be a fun match all around. I'm curious to see who's going to ref it. And I'm curious to see who's going to be at ringside. And I'm curious to see if Vince or Stephanie get involved, or Triple H in some way, if anybody gets involved in this. So, because you can throw the kitchen sink into this match and it'll be fun because people are looking forward to it.
See, I hope they don't throw the kitchen sink in this match. I hope they just because it's going to be the first women's main event, I hope they let them have a wrestling match. Like, they don't need a bunch of gimmicks. Like, there's going to be so many gimmick matches in the 17 hours prior to them when starting from the pre-show on. I mean, there's so many matches. I think that this one has built to such a fever pitch where, regardless if Charlotte's there or not, who wants to see Becky and Ronda beat the crap out of each other? And I think this is one where they don't need the gimmicks. I hope that it's just treated as a regular main event. I don't think they need to have a female referee to show that it's female empowerment, or have like all women on commentary to show that like the women are doing it. Like, I think that they should be on par with the men. Like, no. This is just the show, the regular show, and we're ending it because we're ending the biggest show of the year because we're the biggest feud of the company right now.
I don't disagree with you, but the egos of the McMahons, you never know.
Do you think that they should have the female referee and go that?
I haven't even thought that far ahead, to be honest with you.
Like who the referee was and all that.
Oh, well, yeah. Will it be Stephanie? Will it be Triple H? Will it be Vince? Like Shane? Like, I just throw things out there because you never know how the McMahons want to inject themselves. Look, it's never not about the McMahons. Sorry, it never is, and that's why Vince is the one who says no one's bigger than wrestling. And so you get that into that situation, you never know what can happen. I agree with you. Don't want any gimmicks. Let them wrestle. But you never know with the McMahons when they're involved.
Throw Holly Holm in there as the special guest referee.
Fuck that, Amanda Nunes.
And she's the enforcer on the outside.
That's right, just walking around.
Oh my God,
pointing to her foot.
Imagine if just like at the end of the show, after Ronda loses, Amanda Nunes, Holly Holm, and Cyborg just come out like the Shield and do the whole Shield ring entrance thing on Ronda Rousey. She just stands there like a deer in headlights. Oh man, that'd be good.
With Gronkowski as their manager. All right, let's move on. Ronda does kick this thing off of Raw, came down, kept dropping the mic and picking it up, dropping the mic and picking it up, talking about how everyone owes her for making this thing the main event at WrestleMania, blah, blah, blah. Then they issue this beat the clock challenge. So she takes on Sarah Logan, defeats her in like 1:20. Then Charlotte comes in. Oh, well, Becky gets announced. Becky comes down ringside. Charlotte comes in, talks all the way down, then has her battle with Ruby Riott, doesn't beat the clock. Then Becky gets in there, beats Liv Morgan under the clock with 9 seconds left, which was kind of a surprise. And so now we have ourselves, like, I'm better than you kind of thing. Did you like this?
Well, let's split it up into 2.
Sure.
Let's start with the promo part.
Okay.
I loved the opening promo part. I thought that the opening promo really... opening segment rather, really sold all 3 of them finally for the first time. I feel like there's been all these unnecessary obstacles and there's been all these leg injuries
and
wrestling's fake, and it's just been like this just smorgasbord of unnecessary stuff thrown our way, which we've talked about. A lot of people felt like cooled it down a little bit, and I felt like this kind of got it back to where it needed to be. Like Ronda came out and acted like Ronda. I even think that she made everyone believe that was a mistake when she dropped the mic the first time and came back. Because even me, when she came back and was like, oh, and by the way, and like said something else and dropped it again, I was like, did she forget to say that the first time?
Right.
But then when she came back the third time, I was like, oh, okay, and this is clearly like a thing they're doing. And I think it's hilarious. It's such like a white girl thing to do, to like drop a mic 3 times in a row. You're only supposed to drop a mic once.
Right.
To do a mic drop 3 times in a row is like the cockiest, most ridiculous thing. But I loved it. I honestly, like, I felt like, you know, she didn't downplay anything too much. She like, you know, she played the role of like, I'm you hate me.
Yeah.
You want to hate me? You hate me. Like, whatever. Like, I don't care.
Exactly.
Like, I'm Ronda Rousey, bitch. And I like that she's getting over that, getting that over. I also thought that Becky, even though it kind of felt like a little akin to old fun Becky. At this point, that's what it is now.
That's
again.
what it is.
She's not, you know, she's still the man.
Yeah.
But, you know, she's not that trash talking thing that she was before necessarily. But it worked. I feel like Becky, you know, knowing that, you know, the confidence of knowing that, like, this worked.
Yep.
I'm in the main event for real.
Yeah.
Like, I'm in the match over Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. Like, that's a huge accomplishment.
When you talk about 2 years ago, who would have ever thought Becky Lynch is the odds-on favorite to win the first female main event at WrestleMania?
I saw something that says she's
mind-blowing.
Like the first person since Andre the Giant to be like a non-American in the main event of WrestleMania or something like that.
Okay.
I was like, what?
Wow.
That's crazy, you know? Like, and definitely the first Irish person that's ever been in a main event of WrestleMania.
Yeah, Sheamus never got there.
No.
Good point. Wow.
And it's funny that you say that, because 2 years ago, could you imagine telling someone 2 years ago that in 2 years, Becky Lynch is going to be wrestling in a match above Brock Lesnar to close the show, and people are going to be pumped about it. Like, people are going to be totally accepting of it. In fact, they'd be furious if it had been otherwise.
Right.
I wouldn't have believed you.
And even if you'd gotten that far into trying to pitch that, the second you said, and Becky's going to win, that you'd be like, get out. Just get out. You don't know what you're talking about. You know crap about wrestling. You don't know what you're talking about. And it's insane what happened. All right. So
I thought Ronda did great.
Yeah.
And I also felt like Charlotte did great.
Yeah,
I feel like Charlotte has been owning this character. Like, I don't care what anyone says about how she's
had to, because no one else has wanted her to own it, but she had to own it. So
she had to raise her game.
Yep.
They were like, they were going to shoehorn her in there.
Yep.
She knew it, and she had to elevate her game, and she did it. Like, no one can say that since this whole shoehorn Charlotte thing became a thing, that Charlotte has not, without certainty, elevated her game to be on the same level of those other two. Like, regardless if you just wanted to see Ronda versus Becky, which I'm one of them, I wanted to see Ronda versus Becky, but look it, can't deny Charlotte.
Yeah.
Charlotte's owned it.
Yeah.
And so I thought that this segment really did a good job of kind of like getting us back to where we need to be a week before. Because you know what? At the end of the day, if the match itself is awesome, we're gonna forget all that dumb crutch stuff. We're gonna forget about all that. We're gonna remember the cool moments. And I, at the end of the day, it'll be cool. It'll be cool. And this was fine to me.
I just hope the Riott Squad is getting done this way once again, because they'll be, because just like Becky when she was on that long losing streak and everyone was getting frustrated, eventually they'll get a shot in the spotlight and do their thing and get a chance to shine, because Ruby certainly deserves a chance to shine. Liv and Sarah, you can argue.
So what you're saying is,
but Ruby,
in 2 years, Liv Morgan's going to main event WrestleMania.
No, Ruby Riott will, but not Liv. But then you never know. It could be Liv.
That's what I'm saying.
It could be Sarah Logan, which is an even longer shot, I think. I mean, that would be insane. So you never know.
Because I knew Rocha was going to be angry about this Riott Squad situation, that is why I split it up. So yes, let's get to this. We can get to the match now.
All right. Apparently they can all be beat under 2 minutes. So there we go.
Okay. Well, also let's put this in perspective too. Okay. You say that, right?
Yeah.
But also the Dean Ambrose Drew McIntyre match, right? At the end, that was only 10 minutes.
Yeah.
there wasn't like any long matches on this show. They were all like, I think the tag match was 5 minutes and most of it was in a commercial.
Yeah.
So you have to put the length and perspective of things.
Right, of course.
They're trying to build a show that has like 25 matches or something like that. So
and you had to make them opponents that seemed viable for them, but still beatable.
Yeah.
So the Riott Squad made sense at this stage.
And I feel like Ruby didn't lose.
No, right. She didn't lose.
Ruby didn't lose.
But the other two did.
Her cronies did, like her girls did, you know? And you know what? It's not like they have the like greatest track record of wins and losses, or for wins compared to losses. So it's like, I didn't think it was that big. I saw a lot of people say, oh, they're just going to drop the Riott Squad out. And it was like, well, also, they're involved right now and next week in the build to a WrestleMania match. They're not maybe in the match because they're probably going to be in the Battle Royals or whatever, Battle Royal or whatever, but at the same time, like, they're part of the build to the first women's WrestleMania main event. And to me, I guarantee you, at least in my opinion, I guarantee you that they're not bummed. They're pumped that they're getting involved in it.
They're still young wrestlers. They're still building their resume. And this is kind of how you do it sometimes, depending on how you get called up and what the situation is. So, I think I agree with Ryan for the most part. I think it pretty solidified those three as the top of the game right now and pushes it forward, this narrative of all three of them are going to give everything they got. And they're ready for the match. So we'll see. We'll see how it all plays out next week when they have the 6-woman tag team match, which should be a lot of fun as well. All right, let's move on to a handicap.
Real fast, though. There wasn't any more talk of Becky and Ronda and Charlotte throughout the night, right? There wasn't any else.
I don't think so. I mean, there's mentions, obviously.
I would have liked one more thing later. So they were all in the same building. Maybe that's just me. I don't know. But I guess we still have SmackDown and we still have another week. But I did think it was weird. Like, these are the women who are ending the show.
Yeah.
I felt like it was weird to open the show and be done with them in like 15 minutes.
Yeah, true.
That was my only thing I didn't like about it.
Yeah, well, 3-hour show, you got to fill it.
True, I know, and I said the same thing about time just now, so I can't complain. That was my only little thing.
That's a fair point. All right, this handicap match happened next with Finn Balor took on the Maharaja and took on Bobby Lashley, the IC champion, with Lio Rush at ringside and the Singh brothers. This was more than just a 2-on-1 match. It was like a 5-on-1 match. And in the end, Balor got it done and is going to WrestleMania. I think he's going to face Lashley for the title, I imagine. So that's what this is set up for.
That's what it was set up
for. Yeah. So did you like this as a setup? You knew he was going to win.
It was inevitable he was going to win.
So is he bringing the Beast out?
You mean the Demon?
The Demon, sorry.
That's my guess.
Yeah.
I know people, I saw a lot of people when I mentioned this on the show, a few weeks ago. People were like, well, you didn't bring the Demon out for the title match or something like that. And so I think that was the kind of like, well, how does the Demon get brought out then, right? Yeah. And surprisingly, it wasn't on the show last night, but on Lio Rush's Twitter, he posted a video with Bobby Lashley taking place. With Bobby Lashley that took place in the locker room right after he lost. Yeah. And he's raging out, and Leo's like, calm down, big man, calm down, and he's doing this whole thing. And then he kind of like gets mad at Leo. Leo like takes a shirt, like, what, we're gonna do this? Like, they're gonna fight. And then he's like, what are you gonna do? Like, you have to wrestle Finn Balor now at WrestleMania. Like, what are you gonna do? And he was like, I'm gonna beat the Demon out of him. And then he walked out of the room.
There you go.
So there you go.
They laid the groundwork there.
They laid the groundwork. But I'm surprised they didn't do that on TV. I thought that was like, I mean, like I said, I know they really are building a lot of matches, and they only have a little bit of time. Yeah. But this served that purpose better than this match did. I went like, oh, there it is. There it is. That's why the Demon's been on the WrestleMania poster. Yep. There it is. So I do think that. I think that, it was inevitable. It had to happen. I didn't think they were doing anything else. I thought a lot of people, there was like some rumor that there was something big planned for Finn Balor, and I didn't think it was anything Undertaker related or anything. That they've been building to this match for the past few months now. This has been like a running theme, since he lost the title. So it makes sense. Mm-hmm.
And the Bobby Lashley thing, you further his storyline that he's an uncontrollable beast, an animal. And so I like that. Like, he'll flip out on anyone, even his tag team partners and his manager. Everyone is fair game to Bobby Lashley. And I like that if they keep going down the storyline with him. It's a good, nice, new angle to take on his character, which I like.
They should just call him Bob now, though, like Mustafa Ali was in his name.
What's that? Yeah.
Just Bob. Coming to the ring, the almighty Bob.
I saw the little memes of that kind of under. It's just under.
Boss Moss, I was cracking up at those. Dude.
Why do you think that?
My favorite one of those when he said Bailey's name is just her face now. He's like, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, but that's Bailey's face now. I was cracking up.
Those are the best. All right, Aleister Black and Ricochet took on the Revival, and I thought it was a very enjoyable match, and kind of maybe give us a preview of what we could see and what we will see at WrestleMania for the title. Do you think the titles, is that what they solidified here with this match?
That's what I saw with it.
Yeah.
Okay, one, I agree.
Yeah,
with both of those statements. I agree with. It was a good match. It was fun. I agree it was clearly foreshadowing to a tag match. Also, I loved that double black mask.
Oh!
Looked so cool.
Woo!
I was like straight out of like a kung fu movie or something like that. Like, you'd see Jackie Chan do something like that in a movie. My only issue is this, and that's just making the champions look so weak heading into WrestleMania.
Right.
Is that we've seen, it's not like we haven't seen them wrestle Ricochet and Aleister Black yet. We've seen them wrestle each other now, and we know they can put on a good match. I would have preferred to see something where the Revival are also made to look strong heading into the show, because I feel like if you have two really strong teams heading into WrestleMania for the tag team titles, you're going to have a dope match, especially for guys of that caliber. I don't necessarily feel like making the Revival look like losers heading into it when they're the tag team champions who are supposed to be these brute wrestler guys, you know, these tough old school beat 'em up dudes.
Yeah.
I don't understand the point of making them look weak to head into the WrestleMania match. You could have still gotten there. You could have just had them challenge them. Yeah. You literally could have had the Revival beat Heavy Machinery. You could have had them win to build themselves up a little bit, to have a tiny bit of credibility heading into WrestleMania. That to me would have made way more sense.
Yeah, agreed. And where were Bobby Roode and Chad Gable in this one as well? So maybe next week that'll be the one that gets all squared away. A little 6-man tag.
Yeah.
A little, you know.
Yeah, I guess.
Possibly.
Yeah. No. You're right. I forgot about them too. So it is probably going to be the three.
Somehow.
Yeah, it's probably going to be all three teams.
All right, Drew McIntyre confronts.
There's already going to be a 4-way tag. So there's going to be
multi.
A 4-way tag team match, a
place.
3-way tag team match, and then a regular tag team match. All right.
7 hours of wrestling. Get ready.
Yeah.
7 hours of wrestling. Get a catheter put in now. Drew McIntyre demands an answer from, Drew McIntyre has a back and forth with Reigns there in the ring. I liked Drew's promo. I liked Reigns coming out, and he said, you know, don't talk about my wife and my kids. And then boom, they went at it. That was a good back and forth. So it lays the groundwork for what we're going to see down the road as well on April 7th. I liked it.
This is classic wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, even if it wasn't like too complicated or anything like that. It didn't need to be.
No.
It's Roman Reigns finally coming back, and Drew McIntyre has been kind of the guy who was like the guy who kind of was there in Roman's absence of like had them similar look, similar size, and they were kind of, you know, Drew McIntyre was getting a big push too. Obviously wasn't the guy like Roman had been, but I think it makes sense. I think that, you know, they played up the cancer thing last week. Now it's the kids, you know, kid and wife thing. It's classic heel behavior. Puts heat on a match that needs it quickly. And Roman coming out and being like, you know, Roman accepts, but not Roman. Don't talk about wife and kids, bitch. It's cool. Yeah. It's cool stuff. I'm not bothered by it. I know that some people don't like the breaking the fourth wall too much, but they're doing it a lot lately.
Yeah,
so
of course.
So it's like, what are you going to do at this point?
Exactly. Well, what do you think? Who needs each other more? Does Reigns need McIntyre, or does McIntyre need Reigns? Because it feels equal to me right now, because Reigns was away for a while, and he was getting booed before he left anyway, and then McIntyre was getting a push, but the push got kind of fumbled a little bit. So do these two guys need each other? So this makes sense for them to be put together, and then they have to wrestle one hell of a match at Wrestle. These are big dudes. You're not going to find technical moves being done here or high-flying moves. It's going to be a brutal match.
I think they both need each other. I think that, just like you said, you know, a few months ago, we were like, what are they going to do with
Reigns?
No. Reigns
with
was
McIntyre,
gone. With McIntyre.
Right.
We were like, what are they going to do with McIntyre at WrestleMania? Like, what are they, like, is he maybe going to be Angles? Is he wrestling Angle? Like, we were kind of like, we weren't sure.
Yeah.
This made it sure of like here's a good program that Drew can be Drew. he can help usher Roman back into the fold.
Yeah.
I think everyone gains out of this. And honestly, it wouldn't surprise me to see continue beyond WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Roman wins, Drew attacks him, and then eventually those two are going to be feuding for the title. I think.
Down the road, and it'll be fun to watch.
It wouldn't surprise me to see them. Roman wins here, and then eventually it's the two of them against each other for SummerSlam, the title of Brock Lesnar. Because I see Roman being the one to beat Brock Lesnar for the title, not Seth Rollins.
Once again, Lesnar reigns. Once again. All right, Natalya and Sasha finally got into the match that had kind of been previewed last week. This was a good match. It was good, nice back and forth between the two wrestlers there, and then of course everybody gets involved with Nia and Tamina running down to the ring. Beth Phoenix clears the ring. Great to see her in action again. My lord, that woman is strong.
She is so strong.
Edge, God love you. You are such a lucky man, you son of a bitch. And then what's left is just chaos, just like carnage all over the ring. Then they step on Sasha's title, kind of hold it for a little bit, which is a nice little move by Natty there. And then they're left in the ring. Pinup Strong is left in the ring as the champs walk away. But when they're caught in the back, Sasha and Bayley both say they'll take on both those teams. So now it's a 6-woman tag team match.
No,
a 3-team tag team match.
4-way. They announced it after the show.
Iconics. After the show. Okay.
So it's the Iconics versus, like I said, Iconics versus Nia Jax and Tamina versus Bayley and Sasha versus Beth and Natalya.
Right. So champs, legends, brutal, and then cannon fodder. All right, got it. It's good to go. I like it.
Or up and coming talent that people enjoy.
And some people don't. Anyway, what'd you think of this match?
Almost like that's the entire point of wrestling, John Rocha.
I like this match. This was good.
Good match. I enjoyed it. I thought that it was quick, obviously, but there was some innovative things in there. I really like that spot where Natalya did her run up the back thing.
Yes.
But then Sasha caught her by the legs and put her in the move. That was so good. That was really innovative. It's always cool when you see something that when you see a move that's been done a million times. Not everyone does that move, but you've seen Natalya do it so many times now. Right. And I actually really enjoy when Natalya does it. I think it looks cool when she does it. Yeah. But it was nice to see an interesting reversal that you haven't seen out of it. I thought that was really cool. I liked that. Yeah. The match was fun. It was short, but it served its purpose. I think that it showed the competitive nature of things, but then it had Nia and Tamina come out and ruin things once again to be the bad guys. But then it got to showcase how buff Beth Phoenix still is by doing the glam slam on Tamina, which looked awesome
and looked like effortless.
Yeah, totally.
That's scary as hell.
That is a mom. Yeah. Imagine the moms that are dropping their kids off with her and now see her on TV doing that, and they're like, man, we don't want to mess with Beth. She'll kick our ass. She calls, we're gonna bring extra food for something for one of the children's activities.
Thoroughly.
And I like the 4-way being announced. I thought it should have been announced during the show.
Yeah, it was a little weird that it wasn't.
It was really weird to me that it wasn't.
Because they made a big deal having that backstage interview with them.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why.
And she mentioned the Iconics in the backstage interview.
And it was weird because
Charlie.
They tweeted it 10 minutes before the show went off the air. And I was like, why wouldn't you just mention this just in or something
Cole
like
could
that?
Totally do that.
I was really surprised by that. But I think it's going to be a good match. I think it's going to be a good match.
And maybe they'll just wait until next week and they'll run down the whole card next week and have little graphics for it. So we'll see that. Okay, so let's talk about these vignettes.
Oh,
the Elias vignettes. Before we jump into this other thing, the moment of bliss, I kind of enjoyed these vignettes, and I was surprised because I'm like you. I'm kind of tired of the guitar act, but when they put him in comedy moments, Elias really shines, and it reminds me a lot of Big Show. Like sometimes when they lose Big Show, they put him in comedic stuff, and it really works. You remember why you fell in love with him and liked him for so long. I think they're doing that with Elias a little bit here.
I don't know this, but to me, this felt like a Bruce Pritchard thing. This felt like old school WWF vignettes where they're just walking around the streets like a Jeff Jarrett in Nashville or wherever. To me, that's what this felt like. I didn't love them necessarily, but they weren't bad. I definitely enjoyed this running gag, these running vignettes throughout the show much more than I would have seen him do another in the ring, get an interrupted shtick. Like I'm over that at this point.
Yeah.
So this was at least a better use of the time, in my opinion.
Yeah. Agreed. And I liked him too. And then when he got his case stolen, that was just brilliant.
that was funny.
That's New York for you. Sometimes you ain't paying attention. All right, and move on. Let's move on to a moment of bliss here. The conversation in the ring. Alexa brings out Strowman. Strowman talks about what he's going to do, and then, as Ryan predicted, Colin Jost and Michael Che are in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Oh, good God.
I tried to warn you guys.
And I saw you tweet back at people who were upset about it, and you're like, oh, yeah, like there's never been, celebrities in the ring, or never been celebrities in a WWF or WWE situation. We've seen that many times before, even
since WrestleMania 1.
Since WrestleMania 1 with Mr. T. Absolutely.
And Cyndi Lauper, Liberace.
Yep, Liberace. Muhammad Ali was there. Yeah. So many people, so many celebrities have been involved in the situation going forward and come to watch house shows and get shown when they're at Raws or SmackDown. So
to me, the whole... I'm going to get in trouble maybe.
Probably.
Here. But to me, I don't understand why people are so anti when there's celebrity involvement in a match. Like, to me, it's the ultimate sign of gatekeeping. It's like, well, no, they don't watch wrestling. They don't deserve to be in the ring. And you're like, yeah, no, they do. They're super famous.
Well, I guess because what you have sometimes these battles with Makuga, they see those people who make fun of people who like wrestling, and they do it with the snide remarks, little self-righteous comments that are really annoying to people who love wrestling and enjoy it for what it is. We all know it's not real. We all just enjoy the drama, no different than a TV show or a goddamn movie. You get to that moment where, and then when you see someone like that being brought in, like if Makuga, you might not like it if he was being brought into a Royal Rumble situation. And the way Jost has been doing this by saying it's not real, it's fake, you need therapy, all this kind of jazz. Playing classic heel beats. It's just that he's coming from
He's literally playing the Andy Kaufman book.
Yes,
he's coming in and playing it just like Andy Kaufman, who was also on SNL. And maybe he's not beating up women, but he's doing the I'm from Hollywood and I can do whatever. I went to Harvard. You know, that's what he's doing. You know, and so it's not like Colin Jost actually disrespects wrestling. Right. He's playing a effing character in this television show that he is a writer. He's a writer for one of the most popular television shows on television. Right. He's the head writer, I believe, of one of the most popular television shows. He's been writing since he was young. Yep. He knows what's going to elicit a response from people. So he is doing these things to play the heel character. And also, I'm sure that most people angry about it don't watch SNL. Right. But those of us who do, they're clearly wrestling fans. There's jokes about wrestling all the time on Weekend Update. I've seen pictures of Michael Che wearing wrestling shirts out in public just in his free time. They're clearly wrestling fans. Maybe not Colin Jost, but I don't know why we shun away people just because they don't watch wrestling. To me, that's gatekeeping of being like, you don't watch wrestling, so you shouldn't be here. No, you should be like, come into our world of wrestling, see how awesome it is, and enjoy. And we should be pumped on that. Right? Am I crazy for that?
I don't think you're crazy. I think it's certainly a point of view to have. I think I'm trying to explain why other people might feel differently.
And you're on that other side.
I'm not 100%.
You're somewhere in the middle.
No, I'm somewhere in the middle, as any analytical person should be, damn it. And I just feel that way about it overall. But it's not like SNL and NBC don't have a long history with Vince McMahon and WWE or WWF. Even in the first WrestleMania, it was Fernando's Hideaway with Billy Crystal interviewing Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. Go back and find it. The Rock really made himself even more famous by what he was able to do on SNL, and Stone Cold's been on it, and you've had a number of wrestlers roll through here. Triple H was on it, some segments. So you've had wrestlers get involved with NBC. And there's this deal coming forward, so it just makes sense.
Also, wrestlers getting involved with the entertainment industry is good for the wrestling business.
Positive.
Like you just said, The Rock. The Rock, we loved The Rock. But when The Rock hit SNL, that was his coming out moment.
And a lot of wrestling fans are really worried that he was going to mess it up. It wasn't going to be funny, and it was going to be made fun of. And then by connection, wrestling will be made fun of on a larger scale. And he killed it.
When he did SNL, I know there was a bunch of wrestlers on it, but was that to promote
That was
Scorpion King? Or was it just a thing he did on his own? Do you remember?
No, I think it was to promote Scorpion King.
It was, right?
Yes, because he had been in The Mummy Returns or whatever.
But
he had the vignette, that small vignette at the beginning of The Mummy Returns.
Yeah, he had that little thing where he was a Scorpion King.
Right, exactly. And I think when the movie was coming out, Scorpion King, they did that, and Triple H was there, and all these guys were there telling him not to mess it up and whatever. Yeah, it was great.
See, like that was big. Like that is literally what took The Rock to another level in people's eyes.
Right.
You know, Cody and Stephen Amell teaming up at SummerSlam. Because of Cody and Stephen Amell teaming up at SummerSlam, that got tons of people to watch. I don't care if you don't believe that. It did. It got extra viewers on there. And then look what it did for Cody afterwards. Like Cody then, because of just the association, he then got a part on Arrow and had a recurring role on Arrow. You know, I mean, like, Captain Lou Albano, you know, was Cyndi Lauper, and then he got to be in the Girls Want to Have Fun video or whatever. And the association with Cyndi Lauper made Captain Lou a name that people knew, you know, and so these are good things. I mean, Braun Strowman becoming a name that people outside of wrestling know because he's the guy who got into it with Colin Jost and Michael Che, or made an appearance on Weekend Update to promote WrestleMania. Those are good things for wrestling, and I enjoy fun moments at television.
You know what's great? Every show we do, there's naturally an organic subject comes up. And I think just hearing you talk right now, it occurred to me, this is something that wrestling fans, pro wrestling fans, are going to have to, especially WWE fans, are going to have to reconcile with themselves in their fandom. The WWE is changing. They want to go mainstream. They don't want to do the Marine 6 anymore. They want to do legitimate films. Fighting With My Family is the first big major step towards that goal. I know I had a friend who interviewed with them to possibly be in charge of their film or television division because they want, and he's an executive in Hollywood, they want legitimate executives who are not necessarily wrestling fans to walk into that business and turn it around and turn it into legitimate films that are coming out. And do not be surprised as Becky Lynch headlines WrestleMania or possibly wins WrestleMania that 5-10 years from now, the WWE produced film wins an Oscar. Do not be surprised, or an actor within one of those wins an Oscar. Their entire mindset is changing from straight to DVD or, you know, cheesy stuff that we know our fan base is going to gobble up. They want to be taken legitimately, and to be taken legitimately, you got to change your approach to things. And you can tell there's a more serious approach by the WWE to change their brand and what they look like. And that can't be a coincidence when you see Vince getting older and other people beneath Vince assuming more control of the company in terms of the direction. So from below above, not the overall direction, certainly above and below, and changing things. So this is something the fans are going to have to react. This stuff with Colin Jost, Michael, this is going to happen more. And there's a reason for that, because they want to be seen as a mainstream entertainment / sports entertainment company.
And also, like, look, I know that wrestling, and I think this has always been, and I agree with everything you just said, by the way. Everything. I have nothing to retort on that at all. Just to piggyback off of it. Yeah. I think my biggest disconnect with some wrestling fans is the fact that, like, I feel like too many gatekeep. Like, they don't like when an outsider comes in, and I love it. I love when there's outsiders coming in. When there's a celebrity that makes it, I love it. I was there when K-Fed was there, and I loved it. I love that stuff, you know. And maybe it's because I love entertainment, and maybe it's because I grew up around the entertainment industry, and I enjoy celebrity, and I consume pop culture, and so maybe that's the difference.
To you, the lines are more fluid. To you, the lines are more fluid.
To me, and this is really going to piss people off, but like, to me, yes, I understand there's a wrestling business. But to me, WWE is more just a bunch of television shows. Like, I get it. I get that it's the wrestling business. And yes, the wrestling business is different than any other beast. That's why I enjoy covering it. But at the end of the day, when it comes to WWE, it's a television show. It's a big television show. It's a traveling television show that never gets canceled. That is always on the air, that is going 24/7. It's the only show that's like that, that's going 24/7. No break. Tons of shows, tons of content, all the time.
Christmas, New Year's, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. So to me, when those people come in and help elevate WWE, to those people like Makuga, who are like, wrestling's stupid, wrestling's fake, wrestling's dumb, bunch of idiots. No, wrestling is not for idiots. Because you know what? Colin Jost, who was having sex with Scarlett Johansson,
certainly dating,
is not a nerd.
We don't know if they're having sex.
They're probably having sex. He is not. He's a cool dude.
He's a cool dude.
You know,
so
like
is Michael Che.
You go like, oh yeah, Michael Che too. They're both really cool dudes.
Very
like
funny guys.
Michael Che is peers with Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle. If those guys respect Michael Che, I respect Michael Che for what he's done in comedy and for what he does on SNL. And so to me, I'm like, yeah, dude, bring it on. Like I love that. I think that it elevates. It helps. To me, you say that it gives. It's like putting a light on the guys who are making the Makugas of the world who are saying wrestling's dumb. To me, it's the opposite of that. It go for when those guys go, only nerds watch wrestling. I go, oh yeah? Do you think Colin Jost is a nerd? Do you think Michael Che is a nerd? Do you think, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a nerd? Do you think Chris Pratt is a nerd? You know, you go like, oh yeah? Like, no. In fact, there are people of every
successful
all
people
across the spectrum of from lower class to the highest of class. They all watch wrestling. The smartest brainiac to maybe someone who isn't. Like they all watch wrestling. It's why I love it. It's why we all have such different opinions on social media and stuff. So I just go like, to me, shunning people from watching it only keeps us in the shadows and doesn't help us move forward.
That's a fair point. That's a very good point, man. All right, let's move forward because we only have like 20 minutes left in the show. Apollo Crews for Baron Corbin.
Don't worry, I won't have a lot to say about Apollo Crews. I figured I can consolidate my time on the last topic because that was boring.
That was boring? Done. Okay. Whatever's going to happen there down the road, we'll find out. Seth Rollins talking about Lesnar confronting Paul
Wait, real fast though, because I probably shouldn't. Wait. No, actually, we're going to talk about Kurt Angle later anyway. So whatever.
Seth Rollins talks about WrestleMania and talks about Lesnar. Heyman comes out, says all this kind of stuff. Rollins goes up the ramp, knocks Heyman down, and then tells him, this is a whole new game, son, and drops the mic on him. So thoughts here, and then Angle uses Heyman for a perfect entrance. I liked his promo. I liked what Heyman had to say, and I liked the way it ended, but it's standard stuff.
Yeah, see, that's how I felt about it. It was very boilerplate. It was very...
Heyman's always the fodder for whenever Lesnar can't be there.
And the whole, I always laugh when he does I'm the advocate. I'm just an advocate. Like when they go to fight him.
I hope you win. I love that he said that. I hope you win.
I was just going to say that. But he said, I hope you win. I'm just an advocate. That was great. Yeah. Okay, here's my question from it.
Okay.
Do you think it's believable when Seth's doing the we thing?
Man of the people?
Is Seth a man of the people already? Or is that a little presumptuous?
I think it's presumptuous by him.
Right?
I think Becky was...
It reminds me almost of the heel Seth Rollins.
Yeah, Becky wasn't the woman of the people until they made her the man, right? And the people had to go along with it. She was just doing her thing. She wasn't going, come with me, which is what she's doing now, which just bothers the living hell out of me. Rollins is doing that too, and I agree with you. Rollins, a lot of people have been pushing for Rollins to get the push, but if Rollins knows he's getting the push and wants the people to come with him on the push, there's a whole nother thing to it that I don't like, a whole other angle or side to it that I don't like myself personally. The fans will tell you if you're a fan of the people, just do your thing.
Like Kofi.
Yeah, Kofi. Right,
Kofi's not out there saying,
Kofi's come with me. Yeah, exactly.
Kofi's I'm doing this. And Becky is now, like you said, yes, she is now. But it almost felt like a plea.
Yeah.
Come with me, please. Come with me.
I'm not main eventing, so come with me.
I'm not main eventing. I want to win the Universal title to bring it back to Raw. Do you not want the Universal title? Right. Come with me. Yeah. You want the Universal title on the show too. That's kind of how it felt.
I thought you guys said you hated Lesnar. Come with me. And then it's
that's how
I'll get there.
That wasn't just me that felt that way. No, I felt that way
That's
too. That's 100% how I felt while watching this.
I feel like he's gotten lost. The whole reason he got to this position, Ryan, was all the shit he was doing beforehand. And now since he got to this position, it's been really weird, kind of lost.
I also think that he got this position because of, not to be rude, but it's because Roman Reigns was gone. And they were like, who's going to be the number one guy? And with Roman Reigns, it was like, okay, well, it's going to be Seth. But then they had to stall for 4 months after Seth won the Royal Rumble because they were like, whoa, WrestleMania is still so far away. We've got all these other pay-per-views. And then Roman came back, and it's like, well, you didn't really push Seth that hard during that whole time away. Yes, he was having consistent matches and stuff, but I don't think that at this point I just don't think I don't think he's gonna win at WrestleMania.
Yeah. Oh, you don't think Rollins is gonna win?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I think Kofi and,
I'm starting
and Becky
to agree
win.
with you. Yeah, I'm starting to agree with you. Actually,
Kofi and Becky win. Brock retains.
Kurt Angle took on Samoa Joe. As we were saying, Kurt Angle essentially walked over Heyman and got in there. Took on Samoa Joe. You know, got the victory. I don't know what you want me to say about that. You could take this one. I don't want to denigrate this man anymore because I love Kurt Angle so much, and he got the victory. It's completely unbelievable that he could beat Samoa Joe in this condition where he's at now. But this was a better match than the Gable match, that's for sure. But also Joe, I think Joe knew how to carry him because Joe's a vet. Gable's still learning, even as good as he is. He's still learning. Samoa did a nice job carrying him.
I completely agree with you right there. I think that I love Kurt Angle. I thought maybe it was an act, but at this point, it doesn't seem to be an act.
It's not an act, right?
I almost hope that it is his actual retirement match. I know last weekend, past the weeks, I've said like it seems to me like maybe like he'll still do indies maybe once in a while, or he's not saying retirement for a reason, but God, I hope it is because I don't want him to tarnish his legacy. And Kurt Angle's one of the greatest of all time. There's no denying that. And, at the end, I mean, like, at the end of Ric Flair's run, you were like, just stop wrestling.
Yeah.
And he still wrestled for a little bit after that in TNA or whatever. But at the end, you were just like, stop wrestling.
Even more so after that.
I don't need to see you hurt yourself. I don't need to see this. Like, this isn't enjoyable for me. I get that it means something to you.
Right.
But for me, it's not as enjoyable.
Right.
And so, you're right. Samoa Joe really did carry this match.
He telegraphed all the moves that were going to happen before they happened. He dipped down lower than normal to help him with the German suplex.
When he did the snap suplex, it looked rough.
It did.
He put him on the rope for some reason. That missile drop kick just looked bad.
If they said to me, like, you got to go and wrestle Kurt tonight for his, I'm like, oh, man. I'm gonna get hurt.
I mean, I get it. No, because it didn't look like he was doing anything unsafe.
Like, if
anything, it was the opposite of that. He was trying to be as safe as possible, overly safe. Because
fair points. Okay.
And I think that they all respect Kurt so much.
They do. They love it.
They don't.
He's a legend.
But it was rough to watch. Yeah. I hate to say it, but it wasn't enjoyable to watch because I love Kurt Angle. He was one of my favorite of all time. But it was. I hope the one on SmackDown's quick tonight. I really do.
As Ryan knows, Angle is still in my top 3 matches ever. Him versus Shane at King of the Ring is still one of my most favorite matches ever. Because even with the 2 blown throws through the glass, it still was an incredible match. And even afterwards, the fact that they kept going back that well to make sure they broke the glass makes it an even better match overall. He was one of the best. Watching this is tough. It's tough.
Yeah, that's why I say it was like a somber tone because I hate saying it, but it's tough. And Kurt Angle's in many of my favorite matches of all time.
Yeah.
Like, I love Kurt Angle so much. He's like such a good wrestler. And, I will say this, I like they had a little throwback to their first moment in TNA.
Oh, right.
When Angle headbutted Joe and he got all bloody or whatever. And then they started this match off with the same stare down. And this time Joe headbutted Angle. I like that little nod. So there was that at least, and I'm sure there'll be a similar moment in the AJ Styles match tonight. I also, after seeing how this is going with like the Kurt Angle retirement tour or farewell tour or whatever, I feel like his match at Mania won't necessarily be a swerve.
Yeah.
My new guess is that he beats Baron Corbin really fast. Baron Corbin comes in, he hits the Angle slam.
And that's that.
Pins him. That's that. But then John Cena's music hits, and he comes out and says, "That's how you want to end your career." That's it, because we still haven't heard.
That's a great point.
We still haven't heard any sign of Cena yet, and
we haven't.
He was factored in some way, but then all of a sudden he got stopped being mentioned when it came to the U.S. title.
Maybe it was becoming too much of tipping their hand, and so they wanted to move away from it.
So I hope that's what it is. That it's like he comes in and like, you want to end your WrestleMania career with some ruthless aggression, and then they have their match, and he puts and Cena pins him. He puts Cena over on the way out.
Cena should come out wearing what he wore.
Totally. He comes out with the chain. Well, was he wearing the chain? No, he wasn't wearing the chain yet.
Still new.
Was that the yellow pants?
Yeah, the yellow pants.
Yeah. Oh my God!
The tight pants
came out at WrestleMania. Wait, was that the yellow pants or was it the shorts?
It was the red pants. It was the red shorts. It was the red
right?
shorts. Sorry, it was the red shorts.
Oh man, he came out like in the old school gear
with the haircut. He's got to come out with that.
He's got the hair kind of right now. Well, because he has hair again, kind of like that. He could do a similar thing.
That would be hilarious. That would be cool.
I'd be into it.
Speaking of Cena, I want to make a quick segue because I know we got a little bit over 10 minutes. We got to finish. Nikki Bella announcing in-ring and retirement. Is this because it's smarter for her not to wrestle anymore? She doesn't need to be injured. She got other ventures going on.
That's basically what
is that what it feels like to you?
That's what she said.
Like from what the sources, what you're hearing is.
Well, that's what I don't know. That's what she said on the show, though.
Okay,
that's what she said.
Okay. All right. I just want to make sure.
We're going to discuss that story on Wrestling Sheet Radio. Okay. We don't have time for this, bro. Okay, that's a longer, deeper discussion.
I'm sorry. I don't get to discuss those as much as everybody else. All right. Triple H did his promo, pulled out a letter apparently from Batista's lawyer explaining all this, and then broke into a Spice Girls song. Look, I don't know what's worse, that the lyrics to a Spice Girls song to use in a diss, or that you would even have the diss.
Who doesn't know that song,
or you'd
John
have
Rocha?
The thought to listen. I own all the CDs,
yeah,
so
I'm
not trying to front. I'm just saying, if you're Triple H, supposedly a badass.
Oh, come on! I'm just saying. Even badasses know the lyrics to that song. Okay. Everybody knows that song.
All right.
It also went viral.
Did it really?
Well, when the thing happened, someone spliced it together
with
Batista and that. So and then it was really funny.
Genius.
Yeah, that was really funny. So I think that's more so why they were okay with doing it. Yeah. But also, everybody knows that song.
Yeah, fair enough. All right. Did you like this promo?
I did. Yeah. I liked it. The only thing is that I feel like they're painting Triple H too much as a face. And I know Batista is only going to be there a short amount of time, but
people love him now, though.
People love Batista now. Everything's changed, and he's he should be the one they're angling as a face, especially when all the other McMahons are heels.
Yep.
Why is Triple H the lone good guy? He's coming out talking about how much the women deserved it and for the main event. Come on, you're supposed to be there to have the kind of shades of gray, not be full Papa Triple H where you're singing Spice Girls and you're praising the women and you're talking about how you jobbed out to an envelope and you're clearly trying to get as much fan support as possible in this moment, and saying that Batista wants you to change the date of WrestleMania because of his shooting schedule and just all these things. I don't know. Enjoyed it. Yeah. But in my head, I thought to myself, I just couldn't think to myself. I couldn't help but think to myself, but why is Triple H being painted as the face here? That was my only thing. And also, I did like that line where he said that Batista wanted him to admit that he was using Batista the whole time, and he was like, "Duh, did you really take you this long to figure that out?" I did enjoy that.
Yeah, I agree. And it was an old school Triple H promo that worked so well and pushes it forward and makes Batista look like what they did with The Rock when they tried to do the Hollywood Hogan angle with The Rock, where he was too Hollywood for. But with Batista, I don't think it's getting over with the fans, because the fans love him so much now because of Guardians and the stance he took for James Gunn. I think a lot of fans are aware of that and they love him in the arena.
He's also super woke on Twitter.
He is.
Wait, Twitter is so much more of a thing now than it was then when he came back, and he was on social media and Twitter and all that kind of stuff back then, obviously.
But it wasn't the level.
But it's not what it's at now, where he's woke Marvel dude. You know, I mean, it's just different. He's at such a different level, Batista now.
Ever since that announcement, I've wondered how much he influenced that announcement.
Which announcement?
Gunn coming back, of Disney giving Gunn another shot at Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. I wonder how much his actions, he was the most vocal of the cast, and I wonder how much his actions kind of stemmed the tide a little bit in this situation.
I believe that article that came out that said that they went to Gunn shortly after and we're like, let's just don't tell anyone, but we want you to do this still. Was I think I want to say it was Variety or Hollywood Reporter. It was one of the two that reported that.
All right. Last match of the night was Dean Ambrose taking on Drew McIntyre in a last man standing match. This one McIntyre took control of for the most part, and then ended up Ambrose is putting people over, man. I don't know where this angle goes. If this is his way of saying goodbye to the WWE, he's being a good soldier. But either way, he's taking the losses. And this was a good for 10 minutes. It was a good 10-minute match. But like Ambrose has fought harder men for longer in last man standing matches, like Lesnar.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. I mean, yes, it put over Drew McIntyre well, but it wasn't that exciting of a match.
Right.
It was only 10 minutes, like you were saying. It wasn't like there was nothing that interesting that happened in it. It wasn't anything better than their match they had.
Yeah,
you know, the recent one. I also don't really know what they're doing with Dean Ambrose, but I don't think he's leaving. I still don't believe it. So,
do you think he'll interfere in this match with Reigns somehow, some way? Well, because they keep putting him up against McIntyre and Reigns up against McIntyre on the same show.
I think. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. I do think that they brought him back onto the face side of things to eventually have him turn against Roman, but I just don't know when they do that.
Yeah.
I just don't know when.
He's a McIntyre-Ambrose tag team is really. We haven't seen Ziggler in quite some time, so a McIntyre-Ambrose team would be interesting.
They tried for that one brief moment.
Right.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I got less to say on this one because I don't really know what they're going to do with Ambrose. Yeah. And clearly it was just to get McIntyre over, and there wasn't like any technical prowess to write home about here. But it did make Drew look strong, and I'm all about Drew McIntyre looking strong. Yeah, we'll see how that takes. We'll see how much they do that next week as well with McIntyre leading into WrestleMania next Sunday. Next Sunday, not this Sunday. Next Sunday, get ready. I know. I got to figure out. What are you doing? What are you talking? Because I'm gonna. I probably should. You're gonna be in New York. I probably shouldn't do this on air, but I got to figure out. This is the curtain. I got to figure out like. How are you going to get me there to a front row seat? I know it's not tough. That, no. I know it's tough. Well, if I'm going to be there, I would like for there to be some sort of recap for WrestleMania, but I don't get back until Monday evening, right before Raw. Okay. I can do it with your boy Norm if you want. That's not a bad idea. Either you or Norm. I'll wake Norm up. Let's talk about that. That's not a bad idea. It's not a bad idea. All right, anyway, that's our Raw recap for the Pro Wrestling Sheet. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. Let us know what you thought about our comments on all these matches and the storylines that are developing here as we go into WrestleMania. Do you like how it's all being set up? Are you upset that some of your wrestlers are being paired with other matchups that you don't like? Let us all know everything there in the comments section. And thanks for everyone who's tweeting us more and reaching out to us on social media and DMing us how much they're enjoying the show. It's building. So it means a lot that you take the time to do that. Ryan, tell them where they can follow everything else. ProWrestlingSheet.com. That's the website. That's where you can find all the stories that we post throughout the week. At Wrestling Sheet on social media. YouTube.com/C/Wrestling Sheet. That's where all the videos are. It's where the Raw and Smackdown recaps are that myself and John Rocha do here. That is where Wrestling Sheet Radio is, where we will probably talk about Nikki Bella retiring. That's where you can find everything video-wise. If you are there, hello. I appreciate it. Welcome back. But please, while you're there, subscribe to the channel. It helps me out a lot. It helps us out a lot. It helps Collider out a lot. So please subscribe while you're there. I appreciate everyone that is doing so. And also like the video, comment, share them. I appreciate every single person that is doing all of those things. But also, for those of you watching on video, if you only want to listen to the audio while you're driving, cooking, working out, I don't know, hanging out with your lady, any of the above, make sure you subscribe there as well. It's on iTunes, it's on Spotify, it's on Stitcher, it's on all of the major platforms. Just search for Wrestling Sheet Radio. There you go. Follow him at Ryan Satin. Follow me at The Rocha Says. Tweet at us about your thoughts. We always love coming back and talking to people on social media about it. And tune in tomorrow for another Pro Wrestling Sheet Smackdown Live recap. We'll see what happens with AJ Styles tomorrow. We'll see what happens with the Iconics tomorrow. We'll see what happens with so many wrestlers as we walk into WrestleMania next week. Take care, everyone. Have a good Monday. ProWrestlingSheet.com